third-year political science major on the pre-law track here. I'm on age 11, and I'll be co-monitoring this.
And panelists, you go ahead and announce yourself and a little history of what you've done and your Hampton history.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Marti Hines. I am also on 6 with Yancy. And I live in Los Angeles. I am an entrepreneur and filmmaker. My current project is airing right now on BET Her. It's a feature film called Paper Friends. So please. I had such a good time at Hampton. I was a Davidson diva. There is no more Davidson. My heart. Yes, exactly. Student leader here, member of Gamma Theta, and it just was a great time. I was listening to the panel earlier about just like the network and the community that's here at Hampton. So much of my success and everything that I've achieved, so much came from coming to Hampton. So I'm just excited to be here today and talk to you guys. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Sianni Caballo. I am a graduate of Hampton University first, and then I followed through to Columbia University for my master's degree. And I currently run the dopest college prep program on the East Coast of the United States. Okay. And we work with boys and girls in the inner cities to get them prepared for life and prepared for college.
My name is Laurel Djoukeng. I'm on 7 here. So right after school, I worked on Wall Street in private equity investment banking for 10 years, and then I launched a nonprofit called Catalyst Foundation. So our goal is to develop the hard, soft, and practical skills of our high school youth. So we operate out of Washington, D.C. and New York City. So we have a 3-week summer intensive program from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. We've had over 200 fellows, and we educate about 2,000 a year. And then I actually now go to grad school at Duke University, getting my MBA, and I have a tech startup that I just launched called Spark as well. I have a bunch of coders and building that out at Duke. So I still run my nonprofit Catalyst Foundation, and I also have my tech startup, Spark.
How you guys doing? My name is Nailah Sutherland. I also go by the name of Nice. I'm a senior here, strategic communications major from St. Louis, Missouri. Right now, I'm the vice president of the Public Relations Student Society of America. I'm a student leader. I also interned with Yancy over the summer and through this current school year. And I also do music.
You're an artist.
It's okay. So, hi everybody. I am Ashley and Company, Onyx 7. I'm a VC cutie. I'm from Augusta, Georgia. I just relocated to DC, so I'm from the early now, I guess. And I run 2 companies. So the company really is my last name. My companies are Jelani Women Travel, where we curate epic travel experiences across Africa for empowered Black women. We also have and all of the trips support our charity, Jelani Girls, and that's for empowered Black teenage girls in South Africa and the U.S. to have a cultural immersion experience with each other each summer. And we also have a private trip for Hampton alumni and friends. We're going to Morocco next year. So anything Black people trying to get to Africa, that's what I do, and we're just trying to impact lives. And I'm also super dressed up because I am the Hampton University alumni She Got Now award recipient for Essence. So I'm already apologizing in advance. I have to leave to go over to the award ceremony.
And 40 under 40 inaugural class.
The inaugural class.
How y'all doing? I'm Blake Bynum. I'm a Hampton 2012 graduate. I'm a School of Business major. I'm from Alexandria, Virginia. Born and raised, and I still live there now. I am an acquisition analyst for the government contracting, which is a very big industry up in DC. But I also am a filmmaker. And I didn't study film at Hampton at all. I didn't even know I wanted to be a filmmaker. I didn't know what I actually wanted to do. All I knew is I wanted to own a business, make money, doing something, because I heard Hampton alumni had their own bosses, and I wanted to know how to become that. And also being from Northern Virginia, you know, there's a lot of Black affluent families who came from HBCUs or not, who definitely had that spark on me to, you know, kind of take things into your own hands. So when I graduated, I still didn't know what I wanted to do. So I started my own vending business, where I had contracts at 4 hotels and 8 machines total in the DC area. And then I went to Africa for my 9-to-5 job for Tanzania for 4 months. It kind of changed my life, you know, and a whole cultural experience more than Hampton did. Then from that, I really got into filmmaking, made a few short films, got into a few film festivals, and trying to build a bigger platform up in DC for independent filmmakers. So, yeah.
Greetings and salutations. I'm Amy Hampton. I am from Dallas, Texas. I graduated from Hampton University in 2004. I came in '99 though, so I'm part of Ogre. And I am in part of inaugural class for 40 under 40. And Hampton University has truly changed my life and has set the trajectory on so many different ways. After Hampton, I ended up going to Meharry Medical College, and that's where I met my husband and family. We have a practice of dentistry there in Dallas, and I was over 13 hospitals when I graduated from Meharry. And I literally have changed my life from water to wine because I'm a mad scientist who loves to party. And I own Sociology Wine, and we have been sold in Walmart, Goody Goody. We're over, at our peak, we're in 967 stores throughout the United States. We're sold online, and we're expanding. We have a deal on the table right now with Target to expand into that space, and also do custom wine bottles. For my why is really truly to give from a social entrepreneurial space. I want to bridge the public health, which is education, healthcare, as well as economics with my product. And so every time you raise your glass, you pour back into the community. And so that is my and so I'm grateful and blessed to be here and to say I'm a Hamptonian. I say it loud and proud.
Thank you, guys. I'm so excited. I love this stuff. This is awesome. Go ahead.
All right, so we're having this panel to keep it real, and we really want the tea on how Hampton prepared all of you for the real world. So anybody start off?
I'm gonna start off with being a current student here. It's kind of the subliminal message and the underlying message that Hampton tries to like put on other people that kind of prepares you. I feel weird as far as being a senior because I feel like I'm here, but like where I come from has put me in a position to kind of be ahead of my certain like classmates that I interact with. So just as far as like dealing with the Hampton runaround and just, you know, certain situations, just dealing with professors or students and stuff like that, it may, the things that frustrate you or make you feel like, oh, I don't want to do Hampton no more are the places where you learn the real lessons. So it wasn't until my junior year, last year, when I met Yancy, and he came and spoke to the student leaders and kind of told us, you know, the impact that he made as a student here throughout his journey and after. And it sparked something in me to make me want to take an initiative to do something more. I was kind of trying to follow the Hampton structure on how to do things, but you have to use the Hampton structure and use your own personal structure. And, you know, kind of combine both of those, and then you find your path there. So it's the things that you're learning at Hampton that you want to ignore or put on the back burner are the most important lessons that will help you, you know, carry on aside from Hampton. Not the class lessons, not the lectures, not what the professors tell you. That's just for you to make it in Hampton. But our experience here is for you to make it outside of Hampton. So take the little small things and the frustrating things and stuff like that, and I feel like that's what helped me prepare for my outside life.
Something that you hit on was your experiences within Hampton, and being a student leader as well, like knowing how to events plan, knowing how to market something, knowing how to deal with those frustrations in the real world has helped me tremendously. And making 20,000 phone calls just to get one yes. Because you know in Hampton, you have to call financial aid 1,000 times to get one answer. So things like that have taught me how to be persistent, how to carry yourself professionally, and to continue to strive for what you want and make sure you get what you want out of your life.
I think that Hampton, when I think about it as an institution, I agree with all of those things. But when I also think about Hampton, I think about family and relationships, and that has really propelled both of my companies. I started Jelani Girls Incorporated, the charity, first in 2013 after leaving Pepsi, and when you start a nonprofit, the first thing you have to do is incorporate with the board of directors. And if you don't know anything that you don't know, you're gonna call your friends and family. And so my entire board were family and Hampton students, and so that really impacted me and helped me with the foundation with Hampton. And then when I started the for-profit that I go, all of my first clients were Hamptonian women. So when I think about the people at Hampton, that's really what supported me in my journey.
And to piggyback off her, so use what I know. I'm not going to be able to touch everybody I can right away, but use your network and know that they come from similar experiences that you do, but they have a different perspective. They can help you go forward.
And Amy?
I would say the grace and the grit to marry those two, and also to be impactful, you have to be intentional, but also have integrity. When you think about the word integrity, you're talking about being together, to be tight, whole. And so you can make an impact when you're whole. And they really truly talk about your whole self. Because if one part of you is not tight, the other part is gonna be slack and whack. You hear that kind of stuff. You will hear, you cannot, to be on time is to be late. You're too early for tomorrow and too late for today. Those type of things, and again, thank you for being so graceful with me. But it was just something, the energy on Hampton's campus when I got here in 1999. When I arrived, it had an energy and a set already in place that said that everything's about excellence. Before excellence became a hashtag, it was already a thing that you had to do when you walked in. And it seemed like everyone was already grown years old when I arrived, as if they knew what they were going to be. And you can see one's excellence and their light and their shine in them. I don't care if they were really, really quiet or truly, outgoing. You could be able to figure that out very soon. So you have to find your own light or be an original at Hampton. That's what I learned.
I mean, to piggyback off that, what I learned a lot from Hampton, especially like being part of Vice President of the National Association of Black Accountants here, is that you always being in a leadership role when it's like a voluntary position, so you don't have leverage or authority. It helps you understand, okay, how to motivate people and give them to do what they want. So when I started my nonprofit, especially when I was working, I literally had, and actually 4 of my team members on my leadership team all were Hamptonians as well, but I had about 12 people on my team that were all volunteers for a 6-year period. And I was hiring teachers during the summertime, right? But those people I was leading without any influence because I wasn't paying those other individuals. So just always understanding, okay, I've been doing this for a long time at Hampton, leading people without actually like paying them, and they can disappear at any time. And even at Duke now, I mean, I pay coders, but then I have 6 Duke undergraduate computer science students that are working for me for free. And then I have my classmates that work at McKinsey and BCG that are helping me out. So I have 14 team members. If you look on the website now, 13 are just working for free, and they can be doing a lot of other things that Duke and making money. So what is my nonprofit with that? Just being here and then being in leadership positions where it was volunteering roles and understanding how to still get people to be motivated to put in a lot of work for you. That could be doing other things because they're very prolific. Just kind of running down here.
All right, so if we can all just look back and reminisce a little bit, if you could give some advice to your undergraduate self, what would it be?
So you can give advice to yourself as a freshman, your freshman self.
For the future.
I would tell myself that you don't have to be 50 years old to start on your dreams, that you can start your freshman year. With my nonprofit, I thought I had to be, a certain age before I started, and I didn't realize until after I graduated. So I didn't really get to take hold of my peers that were around me from freshman to senior year. And I'm just kind of starting that now. And Alexia being on campus, she's one of our board members. She's been doing a great job. But it would have been better if I was here with her, trying to do that at the same time. So yeah, starting on your dreams now.
I mean, I would just piggyback on that in thinking that you might not know exactly what your dream is, and it could change several times. So just starting something. I think about people who are really successful in like the blog space or the blogging space, and it may have seemed really simple at first, but you're already building a following, you're getting better and better, or you might pivot and realize sometimes it's the thing that you don't want to do. So all of those things are important, so the most important thing is just to start now, whatever it is.
And based off that, figure out what your strengths are in yourself. You may want to be, you know, A, but you not really have those qualities to make you successful in A yet. So your qualities, you know, whether it's a personality test you take, or something that your friends say that you are, you know, have these qualities within yourself. Use what you're good at and use your references around you and sources around you to try to make something out of it. Because these 4 years are, like everyone says, not gonna get back. I'm a living testament of it. I was here, I feel like yesterday, now I'm 7 years out. You know what I mean? So I can't get it back. You know, I was here yesterday. I can still smell the pirate grill. So, you know, everything's changed, and you know, just basically do what you want to do, and own it, and try 100% because that shit might hit. You know.
I would say not to have too much pressure on yourself. I think that, especially today, everyone's a multi-hyphenate. You know, they're actors, writers, producers, directors. You know, you can be anything and everything. You don't have to kind of box yourself into, you know, what's my major? I was a political science major. I have not done one thing related to what I came to school for. You know, but if you stay like, well, I have to be a lawyer because I was poli-sci, so you kind of can find yourself boxed into that. And a lot of my friends and peers that are now in their mid-30s are kind of having like this early midlife crisis of like, I actually didn't want to be doing this. You know, but this is what I said I was going to do when I got to Hampton. This was the next step. This is exactly, you know, the path I was supposed to do. But actually, I'm interested in this, or I'm not sure what I'm interested in. So it's just allowing yourself to be fluid and to, you know, explore everything that interests you until you figure out. You're not supposed to know at 18, you know, what you want to do for the rest of your life. So it's just kind of just ease up a little bit.
I would say to the freshman me, but I don't even use freshman me. I try to say to like my peers and my classmates. One director, she just left, and even Chelsea, she's right there. Another one of the directors. Like, I try and use my peers to give the advice that I wish that I would have had. And I would say just as far as relaxing, everybody either chooses not to relax or they fear relaxing because they fear that, okay, I'm gonna relax and probably relax too much. But like, we're constantly always anxious about something, our next move or what we're gonna do next or the next job or something like that. And like, that starts to build up stress, and then you start to project that energy into the environment around you. So it makes it really difficult to work with other people and even work with yourself. So I would say the advice is just to know that whatever you're afraid of happening, whether you're afraid or you're ready, it's still gonna happen. So to enjoy that moment and to not worry yourself out is taking the backseat of it and learning how to embrace whatever it is and know that it was meant for you, even if you didn't plan for it. My freshman year, like, I was just trying to do everything and spread myself out. And honestly, I still am. Like, I shot a music video right before this, went to 12 to 5, and I'm still here. You know, I'm spreading myself thin, but I have a plan and a direction of how I'm trying to do things. So, just the advice to anybody, no matter how old you are or what your experience is or your major or your profession, it's about knowing how to just take time for your life and embrace whatever it is. It may be a disaster at that moment, but just be giving you like, hey, this is a disaster that only I get to experience, so let's make this the best disaster. Or if it's a win and it's something that's rewarding, let's make this the best reward possible. But you have to embrace everything the same way, because if you feed too much into the wrong, it becomes bigger than what it is. But even if it's good and you put something into that, that also becomes bigger than what it is. So I'd rather or prefer to have something big and good that's rewarding than something that's big and something that's going to diminish me or make me feel insecure or bad about myself, you know. So advice to everybody is just, you know how to relax and enjoy whatever you're going through at that moment.
I mean, one thing I didn't do as much here, but it still kind of panned out for what I wanted to do, but I could have done much more, like utilizing all the resources here. And then I could have doubled down on just leveraging being in Hamptonian while at school, and I still did it to a way that I felt comfortable, but literally when I was at school, and the people that I thought were aspirational for me were people that just like ran their own businesses, but all their businesses were reflections of their passions, and not like run a business where it's just them. Like, they had massive companies and they like have operating companies and stuff like that. When I would see them when I was at Hampton, you know, where if I was working in DC or New York, I was like, you know, I currently go to Hampton. They would always just embrace that quick. So while you're at school, you can leverage that so much to pretty much talk to whoever you want to at all times. You can still do it when you get older, but they're even that much more quick to embrace you because they know that, you know, you are in school, so you can leverage that like tenfold to anybody that you want to meet. And then when I mean like literally leveraging all the resources as much as possible, I was just trying to, out of school, like work on Wall Street in New York and move to New York. So I was focused on like NAB and different business associations, but there are a plethora of resources and abundance at school that you can just, you know, leverage. And I didn't, you know, really do that to the zenith. So I'm gonna say that.
Yeah, I know I have a pretty good example. In September, I started my book tour down in Hampton, and I sat in the student center. You know, the students over here know I was just sitting here talking to people as they would come in, right? So one student came in, she was like looking all depressed, and I'm like, why is she looking like that? She just came, she's like, hey, how you doing? She sat down looking sad. I had no idea who she was. And she was like, well, you know, I'm thinking about going back down to Alexandria. I'm gonna go back home. And it might have been like maybe a weekend, 2 weeks in. And I was like, why? You know, she just wasn't happy with her situation. She stayed in Twitchell. And I was like, all right, well, what's the problem? She's like, well, I really don't know anybody. I only know like some person that told her to come to Hampton. It's a sophomore. And then she said, well, you know, I just feel like nobody really knows me. I was like, but you stay in a dorm full of girls. I'm like, you know, meet somebody, talk to somebody. I was like, what do you want to do? What are you here for? And she's like, well, I want to do interior design. When I graduate from college, I want to do interior design. I was like, so you want to do 4 years of college and then start interior design when you're in a dorm with a bunch of girls that are putting together a dorm room right now? I'm like, what sense does that make? I was like, you can start right now. I said, you can leave me right now, go to your dorm, talk to your whole floor, and like, listen, you know, I think you should do this. And you know, I'm thinking about doing interior design, and start talking to the girls. And before you know it, before the semester is out, the year is out, those same girls are going to move off campus, and then they will be looking to you to do the interior design of their apartments. I'm like, that's how you got to get it started. Don't wait. Like you said earlier, like there's no reason to wait. Like don't wait to do something where you don't realize what you have right now. Like you have the network right now to get things going, because then you can learn from that, because you can do interior design. I'm telling the same thing I'm telling y'all. You can do the interior design for free, and then as the semester's going, charge $50, $60 or whatever, and then all of a sudden now you're doing it for all the dorm rooms and all the off-campus apartments, and before you know it, you get it done. So then I actually stayed in contact with her over the past month and a half. She emailed me a few weeks ago, and she was like, oh, there's this football player who wants me to do interior design for his apartment. I was like, that's not the idea that I was telling you. I said, stay within your dorm. But I'm hoping the intentions were good, because she didn't say anything that wasn't good. But you know, as a Hamptonian, you know, brother, I'm like, I don't know how this happened. Hopefully things worked out. And I just saw her when I had my table set up. She was actually working with the Victoria's Secret table right next to us. And at least to me, that makes me feel proud, because I know that she didn't transfer out. She's not gone. At least she was with a group of girls, and she's doing something where she feels like she's a part of something. You know, however way she got it, at least it worked out. You know, so I just wanted to say that little story to make, hopefully I feel like I changed her trajectory a little bit. You know, hopefully the football thing, was all genuine. But yeah.
Yancy, that's a great point. If I would talk to my freshman self, but I would even talk to myself before coming to school, I would want to talk to the person that before she came to school, really to figure out what her, or not even figure out, but really focus on what she's really good at. I wish I would have shared my panache more. Yeah. I think it's so funny how like when you go away, you come back. People are like, I saw you do that. I saw you design things. I saw you do. I like your style. I like that. And no one really tells you that much when you're like a freshman or when you're together, because you're still trying to learn yourself, and other people trying to learn themselves too. But I really wish I would have like been able to focus on doing what that young lady should have been doing.
Right. All right. So, you got the next question?
All right. So, speaking of trajectory, can somebody or everybody tell us about the most difficult time in their trajectory towards their career path?
Fundraising. That's really difficult in the nonprofit world. that's just a short answer. That's
I'll say compromise. Knowing what you're trying to do, what your plan is, what your intentions is, and then you have to go consult with somebody else or another administration. They're trying to tell you what you have to do differently, or that, for me, that's the most difficult, because I'm kind of a person that's like stuck in my ways. Like, you know what? This is my plan. This is how I'm going about it. Now I'm going to go do it. But then once you go out to go do it, then you start dealing with, okay, this person said you have to do this in order to do your first step, and it's so hard, especially being in Hampton. Like, if you're an alum here or you're a current student here, you know how traditional Hampton is and how they don't look at the intentions of what people are trying to do. They just look at the actions. Oh, if you did this, I don't know what your intentions are. So when I say like compromise, when you're willing to do something but people aren't willing to do something for you in return, it kind of is frustrating, or it kind of makes you feel like, well, why? You know, or just asking you why, like, what is it that's making you stop me or come get in the way of what I'm trying to do? So it becomes very difficult, and like, just as far as to answer your question, that's just what I feel like is compromise. But whatever anybody's answer is, you have to be just willing to pay attention and adjust, and know somebody is trying to help you do it, but they're only trying to help you from their own personal perspective, not your perspective that you developed on your own, you know.
Your fear, I think it's about making sure that you temper your fear with faith. That transition between going from a corporate position, like I have nice, you know, retirement set up, I'm with 13 hospitals, I have everything, you know, set up, my parents like me, my student loans are almost paid off, you know, I look stable, and sometimes your self-image will try to fight your inner purpose. And so you have to really truly be thoughtful about that, and as you transition, really focus on what your faith is about, like what's your why, because you get a lot of what's going on, and people will tell you how all day long, and they've never ever done what you know what you've done. Don't take advice from someone who is nude to give you a shirt. You cannot tell me, hey, if you teach school, that's great. If you are a mailman, you cannot tell me how to get a SKU on a shelf at Walmart, because the grit that it takes is totally different. So find people that make sense for what you're trying to do to make more sense.
I think also taking that next step. I know with me in filmmaking, you know, it was more of a hobby, a side job, you know, passion. But then to take the next step of really putting my, you know, my pockets behind it, opening my mouth more, reaching out to more people, and to really say this is what I want to do. So it's you know, looking deep within yourself, you know, as you said, with fear and passion for it, and just have to, you know, to actually, you know, have the wherewithal to do it when everyone says no, or even reality says no. Go ahead and do it, and have that faith in yourself to really believe in yourself, because if you don't, nobody else is going to.
I mean, I would still piggyback on like fundraising. I mean, one, fundraising from my nonprofits end, and then capital raising from my startup end. And so, especially fundraising when like you're the executive director or the founder, it always falls on you. So just bare bones, since starting my nonprofit in 2011, just to run it, because we provide free food, and all our programming is free for the 30 students in New York City and 30 students in Washington, D.C. that go through a 3-week summer intensive program. So ran at Howard, ran at St. Francis College, all the corporate tours, everything that we do within throughout the school year of all 2,000 students is like minimum 40,000, because I'm hiring staff seasonally to run it. So just always having that pressure burden always fall on me. And then on the same thing with my startup now, which feels better because it's strictly for profit and make money, but when like 10 straight years it's always relied on you, and you get used to it. That's what you know, when you're running your own business or whatever, that's what you got to do. But you want to make all your other team members feel comfortable and put them in a position where they don't have to think about all the other pressures that come with it. So you're mainly focused on capital raising, fundraising, and it's Miami. Like, money is a major issue, so it's always something you're dealing with all the time, like just fundraising, capital raising.
I agree. For me, it was kind of a two-part thing. When I first started, it was realizing and keep reminding myself that I don't have to start small, like I can start big, and always putting my best foot forward, and not say, okay, I'm just a small startup business. I can't have a 200-person seminar next month just because I first started. So that was just constantly reminding myself that yes, I can do it. But secondly, I hate talking about money as well. So fundraising and like dealing with contracts with celebrities or like people that want to get flown out for free. I don't like talking about that stuff because I don't want any bad blood. At the end of the day, I still want to be able to work with everyone. So I always try to delegate the fundraising part and the contract negotiation with other people, if I can. Yeah.
I think most of us have basically got money. I would say the hardest part of just this entrepreneurial life, but in film and entertainment in Hollywood, which is the industry that I've been in for the past 7 years, it's a lot of chicken and egg, and I feel like a lot of you can probably relate as well. It's like, I'm not going to give you a chance until you've done this, but you can't have done this if someone doesn't give you a chance. So, now what? So, you've got a script or, you're fundraising for, for something else that's like, okay, well, this looks great, but do you have any talent? Well, I can't get talent until you tell me you want to make it, but the talent's not going to listen to me if I'm just here by myself. So it's trying to figure out how do you make this own road. You hear Issa Rae or you hear Oprah say, like, if you don't see yourself, write it for yourself. I mean, that sounds great, but it's like, how do you actually get that to happen? Because we know a lot of people that have stories and, have voices and things that they want to say, but can't be heard. And that, I would say, is the challenge that I still go through, every day. But I think that you do have to lean on your network, which is what I had said, at the top of this panel, because you don't realize how many people just know people. The more that you're talking, and I always make it a practice to say in any space what it is that I'm working on and what it is that I need. And I'm so surprised by who is like, oh, well, I actually know this person. Let me, help you out. We'll be at happy hour. The girls, we were in Martha's Vineyard this summer. Every person that came in the house, I said, I'm raising $1 million. I need it by the end of the year. I said it to every single person that came into the room. I had a meeting with someone at JP Morgan Stanley the next week, just from saying it out loud. So it's voicing what you need, what you're looking for at any opportunity, and that's how it's helped me kind of get through this. But still, it's still a battle every day, for sure.
I'd like to add one more thing, because I did mention fundraising, because I knew that would be everybody's struggle with money. But a kind of a twist on my company, being in the travel industry, education is also a piece that can throw you off the trajectory and just bringing awareness, because and always just kind of reminding yourself of your why and kind of, not letting anybody steer you off your path, because eventually you'll get to your end goal. And so my company, we focus on Africa travel. I've traveled to half of the world's countries, but I'm an expert in Africa travel. And a lot of people will say, well, why would we ever want to go to Africa? And we actually have a hashtag called Reimagine Africa. We're trying to get people to change the way they see Africa, because I believe when you do that, you'll change the way you also see yourself. But that is hard in business when you're thinking about sales and trying to hit profit goals. You and other people are saying, well, you can sell out trips to Italy and Thailand and things like that, which I could, but my focus is on Africa. I want more black people to travel to Africa and have an incredible time. And so just sticking to that goal, I have to do a lot of awareness and education around how amazing it truly is, and kind of changing the narrative of what we might see in mainstream media about Africa. It's all a lie, no?
Well, my father, I go to Uganda a lot. I'm Ugandan and Texan. They're all American. And so when I go to Uganda, we live in a different part. My father has a swimming pool and a villa and all that kind of great stuff. So people are like, you're going to Uganda? I'm like, yeah. They'll think of something.
Kampala's amazing.
Yes.
Ginger,
yes.
is amazing.
And like Belogo, like all those different places. And so it's like that, they live like the Highland part of the Beverly Hills of Uganda. They didn't know that's how it looks. Like, yeah, that's how it looks. You do look like. So I think it's about also finding synergy about, I can give you his contact information.
That would be amazing. See how we network.
He's one ambassador. He's a senator there.
Everything's worth it now.
Yeah.
But that's really important, because you don't know what you don't know what you don't know. So exposure is important. So while I'm trying to expose people to how beautiful the entire continent is, we're also here, thanks to Yancy, trying to expose you know, students and young alumni to how important networking is, and just, you don't know what you don't know until you ask the question and you make it known. Like my sister over to my right said, you just state it and you show it and you expose people and you share your knowledge, because knowledge is power.
All right, so I just want to ask one more question, and then we're going to go to the Q&A portion, get an opportunity for everybody to speak. But I know for myself, I think that it was always good to learn from other people. So I know I graduated from university, as all of us did, but a lot of us decided to go further out in education at other places. I decided to go to ODU. I decided to go to ODU because I was still running my business here, and I wanted to expand my network by going to a different school. So I went to ODU. So the question is, for those who did further education, where did you decide to go, and what went into your decision to go to that particular school?
I'm a graduate from Mary Medical College. I wanted to go to a university that, at that time, of course, for medicine, I had this structure and this checking out the boxes and making sure that everything kind of flowed. When I arrived there, I noticed, I was like, wow, this is different, you know. But medicine and healthcare and all that kind of good stuff is totally different than wine and spirits, because it's not the same.
Yes.
Sianni.
So, I mean, I currently go to Duke right now. I'm in the second year in the MBA program. I mean, my reasoning for going to grad school to get my MBA, one, it was to stabilize my nonprofit. Two, was to launch my new venture. And I knew that it was hard to do it while working in investment banking, but while at school I would have the ability to do that. And I mean, for me, I was either only applied to 4 schools, and if I didn't get into any, it wasn't worth me going to these schools. So I applied to Duke, Harvard, Wharton, and Stanford. I was on the wait list for Stanford, and then I got love from Duke. So it made, and I had reasons for those schools: leverage the resources, leverage the brand, because I knew exactly what I wanted to do. And then that was pretty much the reason going. So, and one thing I can actually say, because I deal with a lot of undergrads, especially, I mean, there's probably like 5% black, you know what I'm saying? And the undergraduate students that I do see that are black, and it reminds me, if I ever have like kids, to be conscientious of, like, if they don't, and it, like I grew up in a black neighborhood, like in DC, so my identity of black was just ubiquitous, it was everywhere. But I've seen students that undergraduate students that are black, and I feel like, and when I talk to them, I mean, they probably went private school, all white neighborhood, and everything, and I feel like even going to PWI with that is, I can see how, like, I feel like I can see some struggles that they're still looking like they're dealing with, and I was like, wow, at least if they would have at least had the opportunity in undergrad to at least be around their people for a long period of time, because they like never really had it except for their internal family, that I felt like it would have been a much better benefit for them in that way. Just seeing other undergraduate students from other schools now, from a different perspective, I kind of see how I can kind of set them back in some ways. Just observing that.
So I decided to go to Columbia right after Hampton University, but I didn't make that decision on my own. I actually wanted to start working, but I had a professor here who was an amazing mentor, still is my mentor to this day, and he told me about an HBCU fellowship program, which I encourage everyone, if you're still a student, to look into it. You can go to Columbia. It's an Ivy League in New York for a full ride. An amazing program. They give you speaking events. They give you a mentoring program, internships. Great program. I didn't get the fellowship, but I still did get into the university. So that's why I went. And I really feel like it was God placing me there, because that's where I launched my nonprofit. That's where I made all my connections that taught me how to brand yourself, how to make money in a nonprofit, how to make 6 figures. And still be profitable and still be a great person in society. That's why I went, and that was the greatest experience ever. I thought I was going to be a minority there, but turns out Caucasian people are the minority at Columbia too. So it was just really different. I loved it, and I had an amazing time.
Anybody else? Good. All right. Open up to questions. I know my big bro, I got to pay homage. He has a question.
So I know we're gonna wrap up and we'll start a question and answer, but as I sat through the first panel and I sat through this panel, I see a lot of dots connecting, right, between industry and where people work. So my question is really about the Hampton connection and the Hampton network. Have you leveraged the Hampton network in your field, and if so, how? And then if you haven't, then maybe you want to spend on maybe what can we do as alumni university, because that's really how this this the mentorship panel kind of came about. You know, a conversation a couple years ago about Howard, which is deep in film, and in Hampton, which is all over. But are we really speaking as one voice in San Antonio? So if you just kind of talk about, you know, how you've leveraged if you have.
So funny, because I had an interview in New York like not too long ago, and in the interview on a TV show, I was telling them the first time I ever became aware of Wall Street. I used to stay in Hawkins Hall my freshman year. And I remember like the second month in 4th floor north. So I remember the second month in, one Hampton alum. And I never uttered the word stock market or anything my whole life. And you worked at Goldman Sachs. First time ever hearing about any financial markets or company. And when he mentioned it, he mentioned what he did, and I was like, oh, okay, so like I'm strong with numbers and I like business, and then that's how it got me thinking. So if he didn't speak, this is my second month in school. He came to Hawkins Hall, and I actually had interviews with Goldman Sachs later on, but that was the first time. And I thought that was actually powerful. I'd never really seen it replicated before. But a lot of people, especially that come to school, have no awareness of certain industries. And he just came down to show love and then say, like, this is what I do, you know. And I thought that was profound. I still remember that to this day, because that's when I was even became aware of Wall Street. Just his little conversation coming to Hawkins Hall, talking to like 12 of us. So, I mean, I don't know if Hampton does it often. I feel like they should maybe, you know, have that happen often and stuff like that. But I want to highlight that.
I think Hampton has done a great job of like that Hampton connection. When you see somebody or you bring it up, they'll go above and beyond for you if you kind of know. And I make it a point all the time in my conversation to somehow bring it up, like, yeah, it really is sunny outside. And Hampton, it was really sunny. Like, even literally, I was in the line yesterday trying to shop, and I just saw this lady getting clothes, and I was like, oh, you getting ready for homecoming? And she was like, no, so she probably didn't go to a HBCU. And because she was like shocked by it. She wasn't like, oh no, my homecoming was last weekend. But anyway, I literally was setting it up to be like, to fair further see, like, did you possibly go to Hampton? Because I run into Hampton in DC all the time. But so I think we do a really good job of, once you know, we'll do whatever it needs, whatever it takes. But I don't know if we do a good enough job with just having the network kind of in a place. I think you were even asking about where you can just go. The 40 under 40 class is new, so we were in the inaugural class, and we're still trying to build and make it better every year. But even then, it's trying to connect with each other. Even when it's a smaller group, it seems to be a challenge. Just trying to figure out how can we leverage, you know, technology to be able to actually pinpoint somebody who's in your industry that you can help and also be helped from.
I would say, to pinpoint off of what both of you guys said, like, I think it's kind of like a postgraduate epiphany. Like, once people become alum, then they start putting themselves out there a little bit more and start realizing like their purpose, and then that's how things start to like gravitate towards you. Like, it's kind of weird how many Hampton alum are actually really around. Like, you won't know it because you don't search for it, but once you start putting yourself out there and you start shooting for your goals and what you're trying to do, you start running into people. But it starts to become ironic when you start running into people that are Hampton alum. So I know with being a senior and being in Hampton for these 4 years and being very active, it's like we search for it and we look for it, but we're always constantly networking with each other. And we're always looking for you guys, but we don't have anything to like latch onto because a lot of us don't even realize the purpose or like the statements that we can make until after we get out of Hampton. So I think it's more so of realizing that we have an impact 365, not just homecoming, not just spring fest, not just 100 days, not just whenever your class reunion is, but like there are always people after me, after you, that are looking for that connect to answer your question as far as like what we can do differently, but like know that you can never stop. It's never just one time, it's always a time, and it's so many people to take one chance. You could do something one day out the year, Yancy could do something one day out the year, and it's still over like 200,000 alumni that can do something differently, that can give us an opportunity. All we really want is a conversation to spark some type of creativity within ourselves. All we need is a panel discussion and stuff like that, but like a lot of us, and to take control over the majority, we need it when everybody else isn't distracted. It's homecoming. We're all here, but it's literally over 1,000 other people getting drunk right now. although they're getting drunk, they all want this opportunity and this experience, but it's only this one time throughout the entire year where we can determine or decide where, do I want to go further my future and get better and listen to a panel, or do I just want to take this college moment or this college experience? But when you kind of corner people into coming in November or December where none of us are distracted or occupied and still giving us the same opportunity, it grabs a lot more like attention to people. So like a lot of us are interested in trying to be in the position that you're in today, but a lot of us don't have the discipline to do so.
Anybody else have a question?
I love what you said. I love what you said.
I do too. I really do too. I love it.
We got one right here.
Yes.
Here, go ahead.
My name is Brandon. I'm currently a senior here at Hampton University. I'm in the Founding MBA program. My question is there a certain aspect in life that you felt that Hampton didn't prepare you for, whether that be in professional career or just with you personally?
I mean, just to, especially being a 5-year MBA, what are you like mainly focusing on want to do right afterwards?
I'm interested in going into consulting.
Okay.
My focus so far has been finance and accounting.
So I was an account major, and I was remember talking about well, he was a year before me, Chris Malone, and he worked on Wall Street as well, and he went to Harvard Business School post afterwards. We felt like one thing Hampton didn't do from a business standpoint, especially Wall Street, is teach like leverage buyout modeling or financial modeling. So like a hard technical skill, we felt like the B school, I said B school, Hampton, it didn't really prepare for that when it came to that. And we talked to Dean Craig and some others about like really developing that skill set, because it does set back, particularly in Wall Street. Because I mean, there's back office positions, but if you do want those front office positions, then you do need those skill sets. So speaking from like I didn't really teach them that end, but you still can navigate and get in. But when you're there, you got to learn quickly on the spot. But a lot of the other schools, and like Howard and Morehouse, they actually like have classes where they really prep for that. When we went to Hampton, they didn't have that. So just speaking within the business context of Hampton, it didn't really prepare for that.
I have a question. What is it? I have two questions. I have a question in terms of structure and streamlining and being able to put the resources and relationships together. It seems like it needs to be a model for that. And so how do we have a pipeline between the school, the dean, the chair people, and all that kind of good stuff, and with the people who are entrepreneurs to come back, or people who are VPs, or people who are already in industry to come back to the school and let them know what's going on within the industry so they can better prepare the next generation to come into the space?
I would say network with an on-campus student. So like the difference between networking with like administration and staff, you can network with them, but they're really all only connected to other administration and staff, and probably one or two other students. Versus connecting with a student, they're connected with a lot of different administration and staff and leaders because they're probably in an organization or they're in a club or something like that. So I would say actually connecting with the younger community and using them to spread throughout the older community versus the other type of way versus connecting to the older community and trying to filter to the young community, it's not as efficient.
Because I wonder how often that the professors get to go and actually, like I know like if you're in secondary education, you have to go to programs all the time to stay fresh and know what's going on. How often do the professors get to go and actually see what's going on that's current to help the students, and what's the, you know, the caveats or anything that keeps them to get to space where they can do those kind of things? Like if gentlemen there not come back for finance, how would you know that? Like if you know at Harvard Business School they do this and so on and so forth, and you're at Duke, how would you be able to give that information out?
No, I know, like, because I was in New York 10 years straight after graduating from Hampton. 3 weeks afterwards, I started working. I know that, and I don't know if they still do it now, but the students that were like seniors that are going to be moving to New York, they would tell the alum in New York, like, and have them reach out, or they have our contact information depending on what sector that they're in. So I know my, years in New York, they like would know. I don't know how it worked, but they would know the Hamptonians that are moving to New York and kind of connect them to us. So.
Like a think tank. Do we have a think tank on campus? Do we have anything that can actually? I like outcomes and being able to think about it and be able to go from, you know, striving to, you know, thriving. Because right now it's like it's surviving. And so I think that in essence, how can we get together to have like a think tank so it can be an ongoing conversation, to go back to your point, to have ongoing opportunities for the alumni to come on campus and to have a conversation with administrators, or have someone within that department from a student and from an alumni within that department.
And basically, as an
Advocate.
As a more recent alumni, I'm trying to just, you know, touch the students. You know, similar sentiments to you. My senior year, you know, I don't know what I wanted to do, but there were people who came from, you know, PwC or other, you know, big consulting firms who would come down and basically say, if you want a job, come here if your grades are right. And I really talk to you about taking that next step. So I know for me personally, you know, in filmmaking, I want to bring one of my films down here in Hampton in springtime, you know, for free for students, just so they know that, hey, he went to school here, he knows the ins and outs of this administration and the things that can just, you know, be frustrating at times, but you still do it, and use those Hampton qualities to, you know, push yourself forward in the professional world and in your own personal world. So like doing things like that will hopefully leverage more alumni to come back and say, hey, you know, besides representing this big company, whether it's McKinsey or Deloitte, to say, hey, if you want a job, come here. More so, you know, talk to student leaders on the weekends, talk to people, you know, before homecoming, before Spring Fest, kind of those off weekends, to catch people on guard, but also for the students to, you know, take burnt off within themselves and, you know, actually say, I want to do this. Because we can all come here for the resources, but you can't actually, you know, lead a horse to the water, and excuse me, have them drink the water. You can lead them there, but have them drink it. So in order for us to come down and feel like, you know, this was worth it for, you know, giving our knowledge or perspective or time back to the students, it has to reciprocate both from whether that's a administrative thing or it's more the alumni thing as well, but it's an effort on all parts.
Yeah, that was, right then.
Well, first, I wanted to say I'm very inspired by this panel, this one and the one that was right before this one. I want to congratulate everyone, and even people in the audience who are up here, who are, you know, doing great things and giving back. And to Nice, who's up here as a senior, you know, say, way to represent. But I kind of want to make this question for the alumni on the panel, maybe even people who are in the audience. You know, Nice and others said it would be good if we would come back at a time when it's not homecoming. For people who have the flexibility in their schedules, is that something we would be willing to do? And to Nice, what time period is that? It can't be around midterms or finals and stuff like that, but can we talk about that as a possibility? And I don't know, Yancy, since you're the
I can add a little insight on that, only because I've done it a few times already. Definitely, you definitely have to take the initiative as an alumni to do it, and it can be done. Some departments are a little bit harder than others. I would say the first avenue that was easier for me as a former student leader was the student leaders, because they have their every Saturday event that they had when we were student leaders, the once a month every Saturday. So I was able to just plug myself into that one right away, like jump right in, can I speak? And they gave me like a whole list of the available months to do it, and I came and did it. After that, when it came to I wanted to speak at University 101, give an example. So I was, I said it might have been April. I said, I want to speak at the first University 101 class coming September. And like, oh, it's so far away. All right, but I know you guys plan ahead. Like, you're saying it's so far away now, and then, you know, what's going to happen. So by the time July came around, they were like, oh, okay, you know, you're booked to speak at University 101. Then all of a sudden, August came, it was like, oh, I found somebody else. You could speak the Wednesday, they have an all males University 101. So I said, all right, well, I'll do that. The minute I got to campus for that week, and Sianni was there as well, we was able to get about like 10 different speaking events throughout the campus. And that was just from walking around and actually going to the places like, listen, I'm here, and I want to speak at your class. And the only, and I just want to touch on the Buckman situation. And it was kind of weird with Buckman, because I went in there, I spoke to the dean, and I got an appointment, which is hard in itself. I got the appointment, and I said I wanted to speak at their class on Wednesdays. IEP with LAP. I said I want to speak at the LAP class, and she said something to the effect of, to speak in front of my students will require you to come out your pocket. And I was like, what? She's the only person that said that though. Every other person was really decent, but she basically was implying that I would have to pay the department in order to speak in front of the class, you know, and I thought that was kind of weird because, you know, as an alum, I just wanted to let them know, you know, my experiences as an alum, and it wasn't that I was, you know, trying to, you know, give out job opportunities. I just wanted to give my experiences, you know, in the field, you know, but besides for that, I was able to go into pretty much every other area, you know, S&T, and get speaking events, even honors. I was in part of honors college, and we spoke in honors college classes.
Next time you tell her that you'll waive your fee. Tell her that you will waive your standard fee.
Yeah, right? I mean,
That part. That part.
So anyway, so that's the one experience that I got, you know, but I would say that when it comes to alum, it's there. It can be done. It can definitely be done, and people will be open to it. If I was there for a little bit longer, I think that it was, as far as timing goes, like had it been not the first couple weeks of school, it would have been a little bit easier to promote it and get it out there. There's like a day after Labor Day, you know, so that was a little bit hard, but we still got a lot done. Like it was like to do that within 3 days. We got about 500 names of freshmen just going to the university one-on-one class. Like we was able to get it done by physically being there. You know, the phone calls were a little hard, the emails were a little hard, but you know, Hampton runaround. We found different ways to get it, and we got it done.
I was to answer your question before I have to head out. As far as what y'all could do differently, like the key factor times are not the time to push the event. I would say that's the time to like market it, because we're kids. We're trying to market our stuff as students so we can get our leverage up that way. So I feel like as far as like alum or like business professionals, use that time just to market, just to network, so that when you come around where we're basically like laying down, falling back, or not really like promoting anything, that's when like y'all come in and really implement you guys' purpose. Like homecoming, spring fest, parents week, and stuff like that. Those are all super significant times in the Hampton schedule that everybody is preparing for. You guys have something really meaningful and purpose to give to the campus. So you want to make sure that all the attention is on what you're doing. So don't try and get everyone's attention when everyone's attention is in 5 or 10 different places. Homecoming right now is what I'm trying to do, like as far as with the PRSSA Association, like I'm trying to get them to gather experiences throughout the homecoming week. So for next week or 2 weeks after homecoming week, everybody's just still thinking about homecoming, but we have that experience to recap it and bring you back to that moment and make you recreate that experience so you don't miss it as much. You know, so it's just kind of just playing off perspective. You guys are alum, so you guys don't have to play on a schedule as much as we do. It's on your timing. We're looking up to you. We're trying to do exactly what you guys are doing. So don't move on our schedule, because we're moving on our schedule. When you create your own schedule, it gives us something to do in the in-between.
Can you tell us your social media, like your voice is so
Thank you.
powerful. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
If you want to, but
So,
tell us what it is.
thank you. So I'm gonna introduce my brand and what I've been sharing to Yancy the past couple of months. My name on Instagram is Not So Nice, and I spell nice N-A-I-S. My name is Muslim Nailah Sutherland, so that's kind of where I got the spelling from. I actually do stuff on the weeks as far as like focuses, daily focuses. This week was A-game discipline, just as far as having discipline and making your next move your best move, and knowing how to like encounter things and still stick to your own moral ethics code. So I try to use my voice and my purpose for that. So if y'all can't follow me on Instagram at Not So Nice, it gets deeper than this, and it's all thanks to Yancy.
Hey, Amy, I know, so I talked to the first group, just kind of said, you know, purpose and really where we're trying to go with this. So, you know, we did the panel, you started with the music panel, we wanted to expand this to not just music this year. And really, we're going to go with 40 to 40, but really university is aligned. look and try to connect mentors to mentees. And so I've reached out and talked to the director of Career Center. And so I think we're going to see it this time next year, there'll be the status program. So that's really where the mentorship reporting is going. Working directly with the Career Center, developing a repository, something I talked to her about, something she had a blueprint for, but it hadn't been implemented. And so we're gonna probably dust off that blueprint, see what we can do. And I think that's what we're missing. We talk about data, information, how do you connect, what does that look like? And then that way we can connect students, university, when you're about to graduate, you know where you're going. And I really think this could be, this is starting with a panel, but it really could be a lot bigger than this. When we look at connecting Hampton University, so we can take over the world. So.
I think it's a symposium. I think it's a conference. I think it's a movement to be able to have a pipeline and use different models that are already proven out there to make it happen for the students and continue to water the grass.
Exactly. I would say the university is open to it more than I noticed, especially like I said, like the University 101, like having everybody in that chapel. When we was able to go in there, speak even for 5 minutes, like everybody was there. The whole freshman class was right there. We're just in 30 seconds was good, and that's all we needed, So imagine if we had 50 minutes as a panel to speak, for a freshman class. I think that would be as a good option, to kind of catch them where they're required to be, and then they'll get the information from there. Like that, it works. So, and then also social media works too. Give them opportunities to follow you and see what's popping for them. It works. That works as well. All right. Any other questions? Like I said, we're trying to stay true.
Do you know if the university has a universal hashtag that they want both undergraduates and alumni to use to promote, different events that they're doing? So in terms of connecting alums with students and everyone else with the things that we're doing, we have our own social media presence.
Right. I don't know if we have a universal hashtag, but it's something that could be found out. We can definitely find that out. And like I said before, Brandon, when you stepped out, and me and Amy were talking about that, the university, as I went to navigate through the website, I noticed that they had like their own almost Facebook in it, but you have to find it. It's too difficult to find where they want to know, do you want to be a mentor? You click yes or no. They ask you what state are you in, and I filled the whole thing out, and I haven't been contacted back about it, but they do have something set up for it. It is there. And I'm not sure if it's through the Career Center, but I found it. I did find it, and it is there, and I found it by mistake. And it shouldn't be that hard,
What about that verified book that went out, like once upon a time, verified? I remember seeing that book, and you put your information in there, and you paid this money, and it was like a directory, and I'm like, that directory could be like the Up the Hill book, because I remember, I grew up in J&J, and so you had like an Up the Hill book, and you open it up, what university someone went to, and then you become connected that way. I'm talking about like something that's like a living, breathing type of space that we could be able to, I don't care if it's like a Facebook, something that can be used, that we can be able to know what each other are doing.
I know.
There's a current student creating a website for specific things like that. So for mentorship for students that have a trade that can offer to other students. So it'll be like an Angie's List for Hampton University's campus, if that makes sense. So where you can go onto it.
That person's name?
His name is
what's this platform called?
I can get that too. It's everything. Well, like he hasn't released it yet because it's still being developed.
Yeah, is it Join Me?
It's not Join Me.
Oh, I saw that.
His father was like.
Yeah, his dad was proposing.
Okay.
It's not Join Me, but it hasn't been developed yet, so they haven't released anything out because the website team is like finalizing everything because it has to be it's affiliated with Hampton, so it has to be like properly done. But Hampton did create the website.
As I said before, the purpose of this panel is to bridge the gap between undergrad, younger alumni, older alumni, so that we can learn from each other and build off each other when it comes to a lot of things, whether it be within our own personal lives or within the university. So every time we do an event like this, I feel like it's a success because we're learning, you know, and we're trying to figure out the best way to do things and to strategize to get things done. Obviously, alumni come back for homecoming, but we know that as we've all been undergrad before, it may not be the best time to get the undergrad's attention or the masses of the undergrad's attention, but we can work together to do those things. And you know, mentorship is very important to me, and you know, it's obviously important to Brandon and everyone else that's here, because you guys wouldn't be here if it wasn't important. So I want to thank everybody for coming out. We're going to take a couple minutes to exchange information we can, but like I said, in the essence of time, and to enjoy the rest of homecoming, we're going to go ahead and conclude the second half of the session. Thank you very much, everybody.